Welcome to the Dungeon Crawlers Podcast, casting light into the depths of online multiplayer gaming. I am your host, Jelos, and yes, this is an off week for us for this show. We should have been doing a From the Ashes podcast, but two things. One, Intrepid Studios released a zero news. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yep. We're counting. It's like Sesame Street here. One. Yes. And of course, number two was E3 happened. So we got a lot of good news out of that. On top of the massive amount of news we got just from all over the MMORPG universe. So it's going to be a pretty busy week. So we got our co-host. First up, we got Stormslord. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Excellent. And of course, we have Alpha Soul.
I'm excited. A lot of good stuff to cover.
Yeah. And Crowjack.
I am streaming on Twitch once again. Feels good. Feels good back in the Twitch space. It's nice.
Hey, now I can actually, hey, check out his Twitch streams. And it means something now. So.
Yeah, it actually means something this time. You're right.
Yeah. All right. We got a fun show planned for all of you guys tonight. First up, Alpha Soul is going to give us an E3 recap on some of the non-MMORPG news that came out of there, and there's a lot of that. And, of course, we have some news on Bless Online. Dun, dun, dun. Press F in chat, please. And Baldur's Gate 3, that's right. Phantasy Star Online 2 is making its way across the ocean on the slowest ship possible. If you're thirsty, the last Oasis is set to launch in September. Warframe is giving itself another expansion, maybe finally morphing into a real MMORPG. And Set Sail Me Hearties, Black Desert Online announces a new expansion. Yo-ho! All right, guys, before we jump into that, I got to give a special shout out to all of our Patreon and Twitch subs. You guys are amazing, including Satana and Theater Elf, who just subbed to us on Twitch. Thank you so much for that. And of course, all those who support us each and every month over at patreon.com/Dungeon Crawler Network. Remember, if you support us via Patreon, Twitch, or now if you do a Nitro booster to our Discord server, you gain access to all of our shows at least 24 hours early. A lot of times even longer than that. All depends on how lazy I'm feeling after a podcast, whether or not I edit it. But anyway, you guys are great. Thank you so much for that. And be sure to leave us a 5-star review on iTunes so people know that we're a real podcast. So we say real words. Sometimes they matter. What have we been playing this week, guys? I'm going to start with Crowjack this time.
I am still massively and beautifully obsessed with Black Desert Online. Learning all of its intricate systems. I'm diving into the Gathering, which is kind of cool. Found my way to Pilgrim's Haven, which is a beautiful place to farm stone. And other than that, I'm just continuing to chase the 2 people left in the guild who are better geared than me. I'm after you, Uncle, and it's right there. Other person who's better geared than me. It's right and sit my tongue.
Fane?
That's it. I'm after both of you.
Yeah.
I'm hot on your heels. I'm coming for you. Other than that, just usual.
Oh, maybe if you took that awesome gear score you had and joined us in a node war we had, that would have been, helpful.
We can talk about that after the podcast is over.
The GM needs to have a sit down with one of our better geared people and wonder where he was during a node war. But hey,
you guys really could use some range damage there, eh?
Yeah, we could actually. In fact, since you said it, I'm going to jump in here because pretty much the only game I play ever anymore is BDO, and I'm actually really happy about that. So much good stuff, and which is why I'm really excited about this episode in particular, because there's a lot of cool stuff coming to BDO. But I actually got my Dandy to Tet
finally
on a 51 stack. So
I hate you so much. Oh my god! How many taps was that? 1, 2 taps?
1 tap.
You 1-tap Tet Dandy? Okay.
Sorry, what does that mean?
Yeah, and we're speaking a different language here.
Okay.
Let's translate a little bit.
Explain it real quick.
BDO has an enhancement system where you have to use we'll just use weapons. Accessories, you actually have to use a copy of the same accessory to mush it together. Every time you fail, it's actually it's referred to as bad RNG insurance. Every time you fail, you get a fail stack, and it increases your chance at successfully enchanting the next time. For weapons and armor, however, every time you enchant, the durability goes down up until pry level, which is plus 16 enchantment. Plus 20 is the max. But after plus 15, if you fail, if you don't use cron stones, which are essentially you're paying insurance, you buy these stones with in-game money, and it prevents it from downgrading a lot of times. It can downgrade, okay, to the step before it. So you
have to buy the cron stone, basically.
Yes, and they're like 2 million silver a piece.
Yes and no. Because if you go with the attempt with the cron stones, with the insurance, and you fail, your fail stack doesn't increase.
Correct.
So at fail stack of 51, you had what, a 12% chance of success?
It was like 11.1 or something.
Yeah,
like
so
that.
you first shot it on an 11. Oh, one, you rolled a die 10, you got your 10, and you got it. Grads.
Yep. Yes.
So, for example, at 65 fail stack, your percentage goes up to like 14%. At about 75, you're looking at like 16, 17%.
Wait,
so
time
the
out.
more
What downgrades?
The weapon itself.
The rarity of the weapon, the level of the weapon.
The weapon that you're trying to upgrade, or the weapon that you're...
The weapon you're trying to upgrade.
If you fail at
Wait, so how the heck
upgrading
did you get to 54? Like...
On you use other pieces of equipment. You use essentially throwaway armor, and you just enchant at it.
Building fail stacks is part of the enchanting game.
Okay, I think I got what you're saying.
So essentially, I have a piece of junk armor that's plus 14. Plus 14 is one of the hardest enchantment steps up
50.
until because it generally separates it out as the 1 to 15 game, and then the pry to pen game. Pry to pen is the end game area, and it takes a different type of enchantment stone, all that fun stuff. 1 to 15 is pretty hard, but pretty much what people are saying is the plus 14 to plus 15 is almost equivalent of going Tet, which is plus 19, to Pen, which is plus 20.
Huh.
Even with a boss gear, which is like end game raid gear, if you will, to go from Tet to Pen, even with like a 90 stack, is only like 3% chance that it'll actually happen.
Pen is the final level of enhancing, and it's sub 5% chance of success.
Yes.
It's nuts.
Even with insanely high fail stacks.
You drop a level.
Yeah.
And you lose durability permanently, which costs a bunch. Enhancing is the most frustrating thing in this game.
And yet, when you hit something like that one Tet, everyone in your guild both wants to say you're amazing and congratulate you, and yet slap you at the same time.
I don't hate it for the enhancing. If you fail, you lose durability, and that costs an investment of silver to get the durability back to max.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that. It's the going backwards that sucks.
Yeah. And it's not
That's
just
the part that sucks.
And you lose all the materials you put into it, too. It's like the stones you're using. If you used a cron attempt and you fail, you'll lose all that. And a single
if you use a cron attempt, if you use crons, the insurance, and succeed, you still lose the crons.
Yeah, you still use it. Yeah, that's just... and at 2 million a piece... For a try level to Tet level, it's something like 127. So it's like 300 million silver.
Which is days of farming.
Yeah.
It's just me, but I don't think the translation worked.
We tried.
I am pretty sure.
Long story short, he luckily rolled a 10 on a die 10 and got his upgrade on his first attempt.
Right there.
10% chance, first shot, got his upgrade.
10. All right.
Yes.
Meanwhile, there's people who've attempted 40 plus times in a row and still haven't gotten their upgrade, and they've wasted so much stuff. That would be me too. He lucked out with the first shot.
I'll tell you what, though, that increased my grinding potential like exponentially. Because on my warrior, I know I'm supposed to do my C swap to go back into sword and board, but when I'm grinding, it's just easier to stay in awakened. So, I mean, that's where all my AoE skills are. That's where I'm at. I'm pretty good. And I see, chat, the enchantment system is designed to make you pay out of frustration. There's really nothing you can do and pay in Black Desert. Well, the artisans actually just make the repair materials more effective. It doesn't ever increase your chance. There's nothing you can do to increase your chance. No. There's things you can pay to make the recovery easier, But
And if
yeah,
simply put, unless you feel really lucky, just grind up the silver and buy the stuff off the market if it's there.
yeah. The problem is the tets are very
Tets
rarely
are
there.
And it depends on the tet. You find some good tets. Like, for example,
show me
tet
that.
Urgons, there's like 9 of them there.
Okay, but nothing else is there.
No.
But they're also so expensive. It's prohibitively expensive.
2.8 billion?
Yeah. Yeah, that's like a solid month of grinding for hours and getting good loot drops. That's a lot of money. No, it's not easy. And pens, hardly anyone sells pens because that's
They're
the
never
top
on the market.
tier. Unless it's somebody quitting the game and they don't want the...
Yeah, pen is best in slot. Not going to replace it. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, no.
This was the BDO section of the podcast. There's no other BDO section coming at all.
Yeah, so this is where Crow and I are just going to take a step back and not talk anymore until the end of the show where we won't stop. Alpha Soul, what have you been doing?
I've pretty much been playing a lot of Final Fantasy 14. The game, to be perfectly honest, I'm probably vegging on it as much as you guys are vegging on BDO.
Mm-hmm.
It's all I play. I come back, I play it, and I've actually stopped playing the Division in most of the time, just because I've just been playing. Because I mean, the Division. It's not that Division's a bad game. It's that it's pretty much the same thing. You go in, you kill
it's
stuff,
lacking the depth.
It's lacking the depth because I have my build, and there's no, unless I want to go for other builds, I've got all the classes maxed out. There's no real reason for me to play unless they release some more content.
Gotcha.
But Final Fantasy, there's just so much depth, so much polish all around, and that's actually the reason why I want to try Phantasy Star Online too, because it's made by another Japanese company, and it's made a good impression on me the way that they were able to turn this game around like completely. Because I played it at release, it was utter crap.
Yeah, 14 wasn't that hot when it first came out, if I recall.
Yeah, and then they did a whole back end, like, let's take it down, let's rebrand it, whole thing. They've got a couple videos on how they did it. That you could look for, but fantastic stuff. That's what I've been playing. Getting ready for Shadowbringers. I've taken the day off when the when it comes out. I've actually taken like 2 days off tailing that, and I'm gonna roll it into my vacation. But
do you think the servers are gonna survive on those first couple days?
They always do. They always do. Yeah.
Nice.
The Final Fantasy servers, they're a different breed. These Japanese guys, they know what they're doing.
That's because if they fail, anyway, never mind.
Well, they don't fail, so you know.
Yeah. And Storms, what have you been playing?
So I've been working to get back into Black Desert. I'm still stuck though at level 15, and I don't know if it's the server I'm on, but I did like 7 or 8 quests and didn't move at all. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Were they combat quests or were they like gathering and crafting quests?
They were gathering, crafting, meeting. You know.
Okay, you unlocked your life skill quest, which are awesome, a really awesome part of the game, but they don't offer level experience. Yeah.
All right, then that's what I need to do.
If you want to level, just follow the Black Spirit storyline quest, and that's I mean, I encourage you to go back and do all the quests. There's rewards for doing so. Even if you're not a lore nut like I am, just doing the other quest allows you to get that plus enchantment bonus. It gives you knowledge, which increases your energy gains, which helps you with life skills, helps you with the new Altar of Blood, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And there's reasons to go back and do it. But if you just follow the main storyline that's offered by the Black Spirit, that'll get you leveling. And then you can always go back.
I'll try that again. That's all right. I thought I was. That's all right. I'll go back and focus on that.
And the thing about BDO, and I'll say this before we move on, BDO is not like other MMOs. It's not a quest hub game. I've cleared, I've stayed in Velia, and I'm a quest nut. I cleared everything, or so I thought. And then I'd go away, and I'd come back, and there's more quests because I did something that flagged them. Whether it was my life skill increased or my fame increased, and all of a sudden more quests are now available. So just because you think you're done in a city or a quest hub, so to speak, there's times I'll run back and I'm like, wait a minute, that quest wasn't there before. It's
on top of that, you can skip every quest in the game and levels and max level, which there is none, through grinding on mobs.
Yeah,
There you go.
if you want to.
So yeah, I've been doing that because Atlas, while I love it, it really much. We did the Kraken over the weekend, so I staged the Andromeda my brigade. It took me. I sailed it 4 hours to stage it to get ready to go. It took an hour. We took care of it and killed the Kraken, which is awesome, right? Got a submarine out of it, so we can do that and work on the next piece. But until there's another major release, the only thing left is the trenches and the dungeon. One dungeon, right? So it's like they're going to add more, and they're going to add more creatures. And they're right now I've been toying around with taming everything possible to tame in the game. So I'm looking for something to supplement that as things come along, because it's a beginning game. It's really good. It's getting better. The sea mechanics are insane, but waiting for more stuff to come out.
Okay.
Oh, and I downloaded the ESO.
Oh,
Play it, but I downloaded it.
oh, that's nice. Cool.
How would you compare the sea mechanics in that game? I've never played it, but how would you compare it to Sea of Thieves, since you played both?
All right, so more realistic. They've added to it. They use what's called true weather to do their weather and their seas. My wife comes in and looks and goes, I'm just amazed every time she looks at the water in this game. Because there's currents around the island. There's currents as you're fighting different things in different places. There's currents. You got to deal with the currents and the size of your ship and everything going on. So very interesting, very intriguing, very in depth.
Gotcha.
All right, let's go ahead and move right on into the news. First up, we're going to move to Alpha Soul and his E3 segment on the non-MMO section of the conference.
Okay. Yeah. So I was actually juggling left and right whether or not I should go to E3. I've accrued like a ton of just alone time just because my wife travels a lot for work, and because of that, I'm home with our daughter alone a ton of time, and basically I've accumulated a lot of goodwill. Sorry about that. So. I was considering going to E3 just because, for the heck of it, why not attend my first kind of video game conference? I was saving it for Ashes of Creation, but we'll see if it comes
that may not happen.
Yeah. All right, so I saw a lot of things that I liked. One, Breath of the Wild 2, right? Breath of the Wild, I love Breath of the Wild. If somebody sat me down and basically said, I will argue that the Breath of the Wild is one of the best games, if not the best game ever created, I would sit there and entertain that notion. Right?
He's the guy. Breath of the Wild, best RPG. Changed my mind.
Yeah, exactly. So the fact that they're releasing 2 and it looks like it might be co-op as well too, like you might be able to play with somebody else, is really intriguing.
Interesting.
Cyberpunk 2077. If you're a Witcher fan, then you are drooling at the mouth, basically, just because. Yeah,
this isn't even my genre. For most of you know, I'm a fantasy nut. This cyber futuristic type thing is. I still pre-ordered it just to support CD Projekt Red. I probably will never play it, but
you might play it. The
doubt
gameplay
it.
might be that good.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Even if gameplay's good, the setting has to pull me in, or else I kind of just lose. I don't think I've ever played a game where that actually has been true.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't think of a single game where I played it where the setting wasn't something that I was intrigued with. Not a single one. I cannot think of a single game that I stuck with. I don't even think I beat Final Fantasy 12 because it was too futuristic for me. And I played every other Final Fantasy.
Gotcha. Oh, yeah. It might not be your cup of tea then. It looks just like pure futuristic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and we got the release date for that, so that was nice.
When is that release date?
April 16th, 2020.
Wow, that's sooner than I thought.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing with CD Projekt Red is we knew about Cyberpunk 2077 for a while, but they never gave us a date.
Yeah, that's true.
And then at E3, oh, by the way, it's like a month away. Or it's actually more than that. It's a year away, but still, it's 2020.
The same problem with Final Fantasy VII when they first gave us the first footage. My wife and I bought our PS4, and we still have it. Years have passed, and we're finally now getting a release date.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Oh, speaking of which, yeah, that was one of the things that I saw.
Mm-hmm.
I was one of the people that was actually really skeptical of Final Fantasy VII. Like, I love Final Fantasy VII. Don't get me wrong, probably one of the best ones in the series. But I was like, another remake. And then I saw like the footage, and I was like, wow.
This isn't just like an HD upgrade. This is a full. They're redoing the whole bloody.
But they're doing episodic though, aren't they?
Sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Are doing episodic. And for me, build the hype, right? You finish the episode, you can wait for the next one. In terms of your wallet, yeah, that sucks. Yeah, that sucks. Because you're buying multiple games for one game.
I think
but
I'm more concerned with the time between. Like,
how long? If it's a couple months or 3 months, that's not too bad.
No.
If it's longer, if we're going like 5 or 6.
If they release Chapter 1, which is like Midgard, up to the end of Midgard, okay?
That's significant. That's a good chunk.
And then they're like, oh, yeah, we haven't even started Chapter 2 yet. It's like, well, it took you like 4 years to get this far, you know?
Yeah. I probably won't get the game, though, to be perfectly honest, because I don't have a PS4.
My wife cried when she saw it.
So
you have a PS4?
Oh, yeah, I won one from ZeniMax. I have an ESO-themed one. I wouldn't have it if it wasn't for the fact that ZeniMax Online Studios sent it to me.
Hey, it's a great Netflix box. It does a great job playing Netflix.
It does. It does.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait till the next gen comes out, and I think the next gen I'm gonna pick up the PlayStation version, and then I'll get it.
See, I'm not a console gamer. I thought, well, maybe I'll get it because I have almost a 4-year-old son. But the thing is, he's so active, he doesn't want to sit and play games, and we don't want him to really, hey, let's go out and play. So in reality,
he will. You don't need.
It's a matter of time.
But the only, when he gets that age, it's fine.
Let him do that. Yeah.
But by then, the next console thing will be out, and it's not really a big deal for me. And by the time I could quote unquote play is when he goes to bed, because I won't play my computer or anything while he's awake. I dedicate my time to him. I can go down on my PC. Why would I play on my console when I have my PC and play BDO?
That's the way I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well. The next one that I saw that was, somewhat pretty cool. Star Wars Jedi: The Fallen Order. Now, this is probably of all the games that I saw that I'm most skeptical of, simply because of who the heck is actually publishing it.
EA.
Yeah, it's EA, right? And they do not have a good track record with games, period, now, but with the Star Wars franchise.
Well, I guess it's not true, but I actually thought EA lost the contract, like Disney pulled it away, but that's obviously not true. Unless this was in development before the end of the contract, and they're allowed to finish it.
Gotcha.
Because Disney was up in arms over the Battlefield.
Yeah.
The
Battlefront.
Battlefront.
Oh,
yeah, that was it.
It was so bad, Disney had to step in and went, EA, you got to stop messing with our franchise. We just bought this. You better not mess it up.
Don't burn it.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. So I'm going to... We'll see. It's because it's a Jedi's, I love Jedi's, but...
I'd agree. It's skeptical about that one.
Yeah. But that is this year, November 15th.
Ooh.
So
it's a solo offline RPG, traditional story, no microtransactions. It's just an RPG, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say anything about microtransactions.
I know, but that's the thing. That's what we're being
I would say
told.
no RPG. I mean,
Yeah,
RPG,
I don't
not
think it's
no microtransactions.
yeah.
It's
That's
EA.
as far as I know. I understand that. That's why I'm skeptical, because that's what we've been told. That's the line we're being fed right
They're
now.
not micro, they're mini.
Oh, right. So the wordage. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's true. Borderlands 3. Apparently, the reviews for this by people who have played it are all like off the wall of people saying it's better. It's a lot better than you think it is.
Yeah, Borderlands 2 was a ton of fun.
It was a ton of fun, but even surpassing that. So
Jeez.
yeah.
Heard nothing but good about that one.
Yeah. Elden Ring, the George R.R. Martin one.
It's actually based off of a book he did a long time ago, like this weird vampire type book. That's where they got the inspiration from.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Can I interject some non-gaming news for a second?
Yeah, sure.
So now you mentioning vampires. I go to Twinkling Vampires, and do we all know who the next Batman is?
Yeah.
I think so.
The gentleman who played the dude from the 5th Harry Potter book.
He played Edward.
Also Edward Cullen from Twilight.
Oh.
Are you kidding me? Anyway, sorry, I had to interject that. Go ahead.
Oh, geez.
My response was, what?
You give any man enough time, a personal trainer, and some beautiful, beautiful substances, and he can get ready for a Batman role.
All right.
We'll see.
Way to ruin the entire show, Storms. Thanks a lot.
All right, guys, we're done. Thank you all for showing up.
We're done.
Yeah. 2 more on the Switch that I liked. Witcher 3, obviously. Having it on the Switch, we'll see. I don't
think it can actually do enough. The Switch doesn't have the power to make it look good. Like I heard in handheld mode, it's going to be like 520p.
Oh, really?
My phone does better than that, okay?
Nintendo has yet to make a real gaming console. I mean, the GameCube was great, and then the next generation was a souped-up GameCube.
I don't even know where I heard this, but it was one of the most poignant quotes I ever heard. We grew up with all the consoles.
Yeah.
We grew up, and the consoles grew up. Nintendo never grew up with the rest of us. They did, but they're that kid that like missed the first, like they had to fall back a year, right? Because they weren't smart enough, so they're the year behind, and they're awkwardly with people like they shouldn't be with.
They didn't grow up with the rest of us. That's exactly what it is. We grew up with the other consoles. We grew up, and the Nintendo stayed put.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Have any of you ever played Secret of Mana?
No, never had the chance to.
Yeah, so Trials of Mana is being released, and that is like the more modern version of Secret of Mana. So I saw that.
You can buy Secret of Mana on the iTunes store right now. Use code Dungeon. No, I'm just kidding. Seriously, you can though. Like you can get the Secret of Mana game on your phone now.
Oh, the actual Secret of Mana game. Gotcha.
The actual, the PS1 version. You know, when it first came out, you can get it on your phone. It's like $15. It's a full game. It's not and it's one thing I liked about Square Enix when they released all their Final Fantasies again on mobile. They're not.
Yeah.
All of the old games that were like ports from like the PlayStation version are full games. You pay like $20 and it's the full game. No ads, no microtransactions. It's the whole game.
It's the full game. Yeah.
Yep.
Nice. And the last thing I just wanted to mention was the other thing that was more consequential to what I'm playing now is Final Fantasy or Square released another trailer for Shadowbringers that had some pretty big story reveals in it that has the community pretty much pumped for the release that's going to come in like 2 weeks now. So
is it really 2 weeks away?
Yeah, it's not far away. It's not this Friday. Yeah, like I think it's 2 weeks almost exactly. Yeah.
I'm going to throw 2 more things in here that I see. One on your list and one that's not. Death Stranding. I don't think I can buy enough drugs to understand that game.
I don't think you can.
I don't think I can get enough drugs to be up to the level that Kojima was when he made that, because it would surely kill an elephant. I have no idea what's going on there. I am so oddly interested. Like, I don't want to play Death Stranding, but I kind of want to watch someone play it.
Gotcha.
Just to be kind of like my mind messed with.
Yeah.
And the second thing that I saw, and I don't remember if this came out of E3 or not, but it was right around the same time. Final Fantasy VIII is getting a remaster for.
I enjoyed that one when I was a kid.
I saw that. Yeah.
I loved that. Was my first. Shouldn't say my first fantasy game, but it was my very first fantasy game was The Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. But when I bought it, I didn't have I was younger, obviously. I didn't have the mental fortitude to actually handle Elder Scrolls, especially the old Elder Scrolls at that point in time.
Yeah.
The first RPG that got me hooked on the RPG genre was actually Final Fantasy VIII. So
remember seeing those cutscenes for the first time?
Oh,
They
like
were
the landing?
so good. Because before that, you had Final Fantasy VII, which was like giant polygon arm pieces and stuff.
Yep.
And then 8 comes along with, for the time, amazing realistic cutscenes. And I was sitting there, I pulled my dad into the room, like, Dad, you have to see this. This is insane.
Indeed.
That's the one with, I forgot the main character's name. Squall. Oh, yeah. Squall and
Cypher. Yep.
Cypher?
Yeah.
Spelled with an S. Yeah, Cypher.
Yeah.
You know, sexy face scar emo dudes. Yeah.
With like gun blades, because that's just a sweet weapon.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
All right, very cool. I was really excited about E3 this year as well. I was sad to see there wasn't more MMO news. There was some, which we're going to get into here in a little bit. But MMOs really haven't been making a splash at E3 in a long time. So
yeah,
it is. But y'all missed Heaven and Hell again.
What is?
Doom going to Heaven and Hell.
Oh yeah.
I'm telling you, been waiting for years on that one.
No, Jellos, come on. The biggest MMO news on the planet is literally the revamp of an ancient MMO for a revamp for an audience in Classic. Revamping an MMO that already existed from a time of like a decade ago is literally the biggest news in the MMO space. Welcome to the MMO space.
That is
That's the state of affairs.
True.
State of the union.
State of the world we're in right now.
It is. It very much is. All right, let's go ahead and move into the first bit of news that we have. So the very first bit of news that we actually have, and I'll put it up here, is not from E3. We will get into some E3 related news, but this one we're going to talk about first. Bless Online is closing down.
It's out of here.
This it was interesting because I saw the first notification was that the Japanese server, which was the last server on because it shut down in Korea, and then it went to Russia, and then it went to Japan, then it shut down in Korea, then it shut down in Russia, and then it kind of was fading in Japan, and then here we are now with the U.S. side. So they announced that Japan was closing down its servers, which it was already fading when the U.S. servers were coming up. Makes sense. And not a week later, it might have only been like 2 days later, they announced that the main servers will be going down. So I'll read this. This is from the Steam announcement. To our loyal Bless Online community, it has been a little over a year since Bless Online was launched on Steam as an early access game here in the West. I want to point that out. It's still in early access, technically. All the teams here at Bless Online would like to express our deepest gratitude to all the players and supporters. Unfortunately, after much deliberation and efforts from everyone here at Bless Online, with a heavy heart, we are sad to announce that the Steam online service for Bless Online will close on September 9th, 2019. This
big long pause, big long silence. Just wow.
Okay, the one thing that this game must have been hemorrhaging more money. Like people, I don't understand. This game has been hyped. I know it's
mind blowing. Like they had all that funding. It's nuts.
It is. What's also nuts is this was actually announced so long ago when it was in Korea. People were getting really hyped for it. All the way over in Korea when it was first coming out going, is it ever going to come over here to the West? Are we ever going to see it? And it took forever to get over here. But it failed in every single region that it was released in.
Yep.
Is this the final nail in the coffin? Can we like wrap the bow on this and call it a day?
No, here let me say this part. How much money has this thing been hemorrhaging if they couldn't keep it open till they finish their Bless Unleashed for the Xbox. I would have thought that they would have at least kept this open until the Unleashed came out to not hurt the brand more than it already is.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And
so there's probably something else other than fundage causing the problem.
Maybe.
There's a lot.
If they had to pull it.
Maybe. But like I said, it
Don't know.
failed in its... When one of these games fails in Korea, it generally doesn't have a long life left to it.
Yeah.
Not really. But it failed not only in Korea, it failed in every other market it went to. Every other market.
It's a lot of failure.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is. And I don't know. I don't have a lot of hope for... Well, I never had any hope for this. I was given a copy of Bless Online as press, and it couldn't get me to play it. I have a key that was given to me by NeoWiz as a press copy. And I even responded back. I'm like, nah, you're not tricking me.
At the end of the day,
That can happen.
the product is the deciding factor. The end product, what the consumer has in his hands, is the factor that will decide if something lives or dies.
Mm-hmm.
Ashes.
That game is the only game that I've ever returned. In, how many, since I've been buying games, that is the only game that I've ever returned.
Right. Generally, I've spent a ton of money on different things already. I know you're the same way where I bought games that were so bad, it's like I should return them, but it's never been enough money for me to go, yeah, I'll return that because...
Yeah,
I just absorb the loss. Like, I'll learn next time. But
right.
That says a lot. I know you're similar to that. Like, okay.
If you buy a bad purchase, suck it up.
Yep.
It's whatever.
Yep.
But this was so bad that it was a matter of principle that I couldn't, keep it basically. So, yeah, man.
I knew when you told me
That's
that,
bad.
I'm like, oh, I've known Alpha for many years now. And if he's returning a game, it's an abomination.
Yeah.
Because that just doesn't happen. And I've
That's
seen
bad.
some of the games he played where I'm like, really, dude? Yeah, I'm going to get that. Still didn't return it. So, yeah, it's a little bit of an issue. All right. The next game that we have, I think, is got a lot of people hyped. A lot more people hyped. It is not an MMO, but it's definitely... one that I know a lot of people in our community are interested in. It's Baldur's Gate 3.
Before you begin, simple context. Can anyone tell me when Baldur's Gate 2 was released? Does anyone know?
2002, I
Which
think.
time?
2002? What do you say? 2002? Any more guesses of when Baldur's Gate 2 was released?
Baldur's Gate 2.
Honestly-
I'm going to say 97.
97?
I was thinking more like 97, 98.
The answer is 2000. Baldur's Gate 1 came out in 98. The sequel came out in 2000. We're coming in on 20 years since Baldur's Gate 2.
The thing that is, I think, the most fascinating about this game, Wizard of the Coast owns the IP, but they're not. EA made the other two games back before EA became what EA is now. Do you know what company is actually doing this right now?
Who?
It is the guys. Hold on, I want to get the entire name correct on this one. Baldur's Gate is being made by. Why am I not seeing the name of the company?
That's a weird name for a company.
Larian Studios or Larian Studios, the guys who made
Larian
Original
Studios.
Sin.
Yeah.
Original Sin.
Original-
Divinity
Yeah.
Original Sin. That's pretty awesome. Like, both,
That's why I'm hyped.
yeah, me too. Because Divinity Original Sin and Divinity Original Sin 2 were amazing.
Up and down amazing games.
Really good. So Wizard of the Coast has given probably one of the most popular fantasy RPGs of all time to these guys to do.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate is up there. But then again, we're going back 20 years. So if you're old enough to play them back then, you do remember them very fondly.
Mm-hmm.
But there's an entire generation of gamers that don't even know what Baldur's Gate really is.
Or they try to play it on their phone and can't read it.
Yeah, that's true.
I just remember the PS2. I love the PS2 version, the co-op games you could play with Baldur's Gate 2 and then Baldur's Gate 2 Dark Alliance.
Those couch co-op things, man.
My wife and I booted that up probably last year. We dug out the old PS2, sat up in the room. It was 2 years ago because our son was he's still a toddler. So like during naps, he's like asleep on my wife's lap while we boot up like Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance to play it.
Nice.
Those games were fantastic, and I loved it. The other thing that's really neat off this is going to be one of the launch titles, and we didn't talk about it earlier, which we probably should have, for Google's Stadia, which is their cloud gaming service.
That'd be cool.
I'm not sure we're ready for that.
Here's the thing that I'm interested in. The idea of Stadia, like, has anyone ever tried that Shadow Tech? I have. It's a cloud PC that's designed for gaming in the cloud that as long as you have a decent internet connection, you're supposed to be able to play these games with almost zero latency. Now, it does work pretty good. The difference between Shadow Tech wasn't overly cheap either. And it was like $25 a month or something like that. It's not overly cheap for it, but you got an entire PC. It didn't even have to be for gaming, even though that's what they aimed it towards.
Okay.
It was yours. I was using it as a remote editing studio. I loaded up all my software to edit on it too.
Oh, cool.
So I can edit podcasts. I can remote into it while I'm at work. And hey, I got my Stadia or my Shadow Tech. That's how I check my BDO stuff. I boot up that server, hop in, there it is. It works well, but it's an entire PC. Stadia, on the other hand, is the same premise. It's just Google controls what's on it.
Yeah, that's the part I don't like at all.
Yeah, like
Netflix also controls what you watch, what you're allowed to watch on Netflix.
The only thing that matters on Netflix is The Office. Prove me wrong. I actually want to see. I talked to my wife about this. If Netflix ever drops The Office, I want you to immediately look at the stock prices.
You think it's The Office holding that boat afloat?
It is. They actually released it. The Office is their number one most streamed program on Netflix.
All I know is people were skeptical of the entire Netflix model.
Sure.
Right? Why would you do that? We just go to Blockbuster and rent a DVD. And or you can buy a DVD and have a physical thing. So there's a simple rule with all of this when it comes to email versus snail mail, when it comes to Netflix versus if it's more convenient, if it's easier to use, people will migrate to it. But the question is, it is Google, and Google has a track record of doing amazing things. Is the game library going to be good enough to warrant having this system?
I'm going to touch your second topic, but I want to reverse back to your first one. Google is known for doing great things. Google is also known that when a product doesn't reach critical mass, they abandon it.
The master has failed more times than the apprentice has even tried. It happens.
They have more money than anything, so they don't care. But how many projects of theirs have languished into nothing? And it's not like they were doing poorly. It's just they didn't hit critical mass, so Google goes, it's effectively maintenance mode. And that's what I'm concerned about. I do think this is going to be something of the future. Could you imagine picking up a $200 Chromebook and essentially having a fully powerful, like 4K gaming machine?
Yeah.
Off of like a Chromebook?
The problem is going to be the amount of connections across the country that can support it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's rural parts of the country.
Urban centers, you're good. Right? It's the rural parts of the country that you're going to have an issue with things like this.
Probably now, in another 5 years, who knows how tech advances and how things creep out into rural.
So put it this way, I was looking for the cottage, right? And I went to the local business, it's outside of town, so it's not in town. And they have 10K download. 10 megabytes. Sorry, not 10K.
Yep. Yeah,
10
10 megs.
That's all they have. They don't have anything else. Period. Right. And the guy goes, "Well, what do you want?" I said, "Well, this is what I'm looking for." He goes, "Well, it depends where you're located on the hill, because you got line of sight, right?" So it's like you really got to get better before we're gonna pull something like Google Stadia off.
Now Stadia says
In my opinion.
1080p, 30 FPS on 10 megs down.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll have to wait and see. That's a really good question.
I can tell you this much.
They also
Shadow
told
Tech,
do no evil from their mantra, so
Shadow Tech does not work great on 10 megs down. Like I know they're showing off like, oh, you're supposed to be able to play like Apex Legends and stuff like that. I would never play a first-person shooter off Shadow Tech on 10 megs down, even though they say you can.
But we are talking about Google's and their infrastructure and their funding.
Yes.
Yeah, but they also went to set up that city in fiber and then stopped. You know.
True.
So,
Like I said, the Masters failed more times than the Apprentices even tried. That's one of their failures.
That is true.
The other thing I'm not fond of, I do like their platform. I think it'll be great. But as what Crojack and I said, what game are we playing right now more than anything?
Video.
That's not on it.
Yep.
yeah, it's true.
ESO is. That's actually one of the first, I think the only MMO that's on their list right now on Stadia. Which is cool. Don't get me wrong. I think they just need a little bit more inclusive of a thing. And I also don't like when Google has the final say on whether something gets on there. What happens if they're in the middle of like a legal dispute? How many times has ZeniMax Media sued somebody else for something else? You know?
Yeah, that'll happen, and
Well, just like only certain games go on your Xbox, only certain games go on your PlayStation, and only certain games ever go to PC. Yeah, this is going to be a new generation console. Only certain games will be on it.
The difference is, unless you're playing digital online version, then they can't come to your Xbox and take away your disc.
That's true.
Right? At Google, they can say, "Oh no, we're in a dispute. It's gone." It doesn't matter how long you're working on it. It's gone.
Interesting.
Yeah, I have control issues. That's okay.
I mean, yeah, I'm with you on that. Then that's why I like the Shadow Tech, which the problem is Shadow Tech is almost too expensive for what it offers. And it doesn't run great unless you already have something like fiber optic. If you have fiber optic, it's perfect.
AWS is the same way with their PCs they offer.
Yeah.
I thought about it.
They work. They absolutely work, but you're not doing competitive Fortnite on that. I could play BDO, but it's definitely laggier than on my PC. There's like just that half-second delay between when I hit a key and it goes off, which for BDO, okay. I mean, if I were doing like a Node War, yeah, that might be a little bit more of an issue. But if I'm just in there doing my cooking or doing some light questing or something, like no big deal. So, it really depends on Stadia. And they might only have certain launch. Maybe they'll be more inclusive later on. But right now, it's like they've only announced like 6 games. I'm sure there will be more, but
we need to see what games are in that list of games that are included in the 10-month sub, right?
Yeah.
There's 2 ways of doing it, 10-month sub or free, and you pay for all your games. What games are in that list of games for the 10-month sub? Right. How worth it is it? How effective is it? How good's the FPS, the connection, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of questions.
Even though I don't like EA, I'm tempted to do their premiere service. Same thing, right? But same thing. What's available, when you play it.
Yeah, if you take The Office off Netflix, Agelos won't even use Netflix.
Oh, no, I won't.
Many other people.
I would have that.
Amazon Prime and buy it.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm sorry about
I was
that.
pissed they pulled Doctor Who off of Netflix. I was like, really?
Oh,
why
no
the hell do I even
kidding,
have
right?
Netflix?
But now they're all on Prime. That's why.
Yeah.
But their interface sucks. Sorry.
No,
I don't like
does.
Prime. I don't like Prime.
I have Prime for 2 things. 1, 2-day shipping, and Vikings. Vikings is on, and that's all I watch. I don't have anything else. But, yeah.
Oh, we don't even have regular TV. All we do is just stream on either Netflix or Prime.
Right.
Well,
if it wasn't for sports, I wouldn't have regular TV either.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Prime now has some sports. They're getting more.
And there's online packages for the NFL, the NHL, the NBA. They've all got their own online packages. So,
but they blacklist except for
trust me,
blackout, except for a couple of the NFL ones through Prime.
Freaking the Toronto Maple Leafs, like you have an online package to watch the Leafs and you live near Toronto. No, I'm sorry, we're blacklisting you. You have to watch on TV. Thanks. Why did I buy this online package?
Exactly.
Stupid.
That's why I never bought the MLB for the Tigers.
Yep, same thing.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the next little bit.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't. You guys talk sports ball, and I'm out of it. But the next thing, the devil. It is the devil. The next thing, and more important and relevant to the topic at hand, Phantasy Star Online 2.
The sports MMO.
Japan's greatest online RPG. It actually, I think this is one of the largest MMOs, period, especially in Japan. Population probably not, but it's the most played one in Japan. Like pretty much everyone in Japan plays this game, apparently. It was supposed to, it came out about 8 years ago, and it's actually really funny. I see comments all the time about people complaining, it's an 8-year-old game, it's too old, and yet the most hyped game right now is Warcraft Classic.
WoW.
Yeah.
Classic WoW, right?
Yeah. I almost treat this as a how do I want to say it? MMO light, because once again, Phantasy Star Online, the way it's actually set up is more of a lobby-based type thing, where you go in and you do your fun little mission, and then you're in a lobby again. So it's not even like a full virtual-ish world. It's just like a mission-based type thing. But I don't know the audience who's hyped for this, but apparently there is a lot of hype for this. I don't know who it is. Alpha, you had some thoughts on this.
Yeah. Phantasy Star, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, I kind of hold... I don't know much about Phantasy Star as far as the details go, so I couldn't really talk about how it actually is. But I love Final Fantasy 14. I like how they did things as an MMO, and I'm willing to give another Japanese MMO a shot. And if a ton of people in Japan play it, then I definitely want to try it out and have play it on my own. So.
And I see chat room going, it is the largest. I've been waiting years to not need a VPN to play. So I guess. I mean, this was never really, again, not really my thing. I'm not a real huge, any kind of JRPG kind of guy outside of the older Final Fantasies, because that's what I kind of grew up with. But it's weird that it took so long to finally get localized over here, because unlike other countries like Japan or China and stuff, who legally don't let anything outside their Great Firewall or inside their Great Firewall, Japan seems to be fairly open with what they're doing. So it's odd that they haven't pushed this out somewhere else. The fact that it's still so popular over there, it's making money hand over fist. Why wouldn't they push it out?
It's a good question.
I wonder if I don't know. Maybe they don't think it'll translate well.
That might be. A lot of the quests might be something that might not translate.
Because the company looking at Square Enix right now, I have watched a couple videos on their development, and even for Square Enix, this is not their moneymaker as far as the game goes, right? And it's also taking a considerable amount of resources to do what they do for all the languages that they do, in Japanese and English. I forgot there's two more others. But that takes a lot of resources, right? So maybe it's the companies don't have the resources to do it, right?
Maybe. I can't imagine after all this time, the fact that it is so big in Japan, that they wouldn't have the resources after it hitting this critical success. This is essentially the Japanese World of Warcraft.
So I would think then too, culturally, why it wouldn't be moved elsewhere, right? Is there some agreement company wise? Is there some, right? Because rules are different over there with regards to monopolies and sharing data and all that sort of stuff. So maybe they've agreed not to for some reason. Again, I don't know. I mean, it's a good guess, but
yeah,
I don't know either. Nope.
I mean, let Godzilla out, so come on, you gotta let others go.
Well, yeah. All right. Anyway, that's Phantasy Star Online 2. If you were excited about that, it is coming in, as I pull up my notes, it's coming to both Xbox One and PC. The most important thing is it does have cross-play, and it'll be coming next year, 2020.
Free to play.
Yeah, it is free to play too. So, Okay, next little bit of news. One more MMO has hit the market. This game?
I heard about this game, and I found footage of this game through the grapevine of content creators. People were like, yo, what is this? When you watch the footage, you're like, yo, what is this?
Yeah, we'll have the footage going on here. This is called Last Oasis. I'm going to tell you the thing that makes me the most excited for it. I like their logo. And that's literally it.
Really? The logo? Not the crazy crawling steampunk machines on the ground in the desert and stuff? It's like a mixture of Mad Max meets steampunk?
Yes, I could see that. It's like that. It's, as they say, the wood punk, because it's all wood rather. But yeah, no, they got these weird little crawling vehicles, as you can see if you're watching us on youtube.com/Dungeon Crawler Network. I don't know. It's a survival MMO again, so immediately Crojack just died a little inside.
Just pack my bags and leave. Nope, we're out. But the sword combat looks fun. The ships look crazy. This is not going to go down Agelus's narrow field of enjoyment. This does not fall in that category of something he would probably like to play.
I would probably like to play this way more than I would Phantasy Star Online.
Okay, yeah. There's no sci-fi to this to fantasy, right? On the spectrum.
Right. No, I mean, it's neat. I know as much as you don't like the survival genre, and this is coming September 3rd, by the way. That's the date. September 3rd, we're going to see this bad boy hit the market. I actually love survival MMOs. When they're actual legit survival MMOs. Hence why I'm so excited for New World. The ability to... Survival games offer, especially when you're single player, the amount of work and that you have to do in order to stay alive can be spread among a community in those games, and that's fantastic.
They actually are good community building games. Absolutely.
They really are. And in an MMO phase, when you're not limited to like 40 people on your entire server, if you're a small community, that's not a big deal. But, like our community is fairly large. Most survival games, we can't even fit our entire community on a single server, So that's... That makes it hard to do anything. Yeah. So, I don't know. I think it's pretty neat. I know the idea behind it is that you're fighting over water resources in this post-apocalyptic world. Go ahead.
And there's the problem. What a survival anything always devolves into player versus player. And as we all know, a player versus player focused MMO, they've all dwindled and fallen to the wayside in the space. Every single one of them.
Yep. Yeah. If they don't keep up with the PvE side, absolutely. That's exactly what happened. Because they're going to get tired of it.
Yep.
If you're not dominating
the PvE side, that is a difference.
And that's the only problem with survival space. Because that's what survival is you versus everyone else. Survival of the fittest. That's the point of the genre. And in an MMO world, that's what it becomes.
Yeah.
You're right. As long as, again, they don't focus on the PvE. That's, to me, if they can pull that off, they can make it. But not a lot of people want to do that because it's more work. It's more work to do PvE than we'll just fight each other.
And to pull that off in a survival setting, you'd have to give the people who are fighting each other for survival something even more threatening to face, basically, in terms of a
your environment's got to be tough. Absolutely.
Yep.
I'm hoping New World and their environment, right, is as threatening as it could be.
Yeah, made the environment more threatening than each other.
Absolutely.
I can tell, we've already seen the majority of these, they don't have that, and that does cause a problem. Even games such as Conan Exiles, at least they had the Purge, but the Purge really wasn't that much of an issue.
No, it needed to be ramped up, and then it could be really good, right?
Right.
Absolutely. I thought the Purge, to me, that was, oh my God, this will be fantastic. But you're right. It was like Purge Light.
Right.
we need to have a little more of a Purge there.
A little more Purge. All right. Last Oasis, definitely check it out if that idea of woodpunk does interest you. And of course, I love the MMORPG genre, so I'm always excited to see a game that's getting close to be playable and something else to jump into. And it is unique. I mean, if you're tired of the standard fantasy tropes, there are people like that. I know they're weird.
Yep.
This might be up your alley at that point. I know that's one of the things that was most refreshing around New World is the fact it wasn't a standard fantasy trope. It was
True.
different, like a Lovecraftian supernatural new world type thing. All right. Did I hit my button? Yes, I did. Moving on to the next. This will be a pretty quick announcement because there wasn't a whole lot to actually be said about it other than the fact that Warframe, that game that you may know, has teased a new expansion, Empyrean.
Interesting.
Yeah, the problem I have with this is they didn't really show us a whole lot. This was literally a teaser trailer at E3, which is cool because they're trying to save the big announcement for what Empyrean is going to be for their TennoCon, which is their fan fest essentially.
Oh, okay. Their BlizzCon.
Their BlizzCon, their Final Fantasy Fan Fest. That's what it is. TennoCon. Our what is the one for EVE Online? Why am I drawing a blank?
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I forgot the name.
The one they hold in Iceland every year. Yeah. It's kind of neat. Like, that's what they're trying to save it for, which is cool because they're giving a hint that people at E3, if you haven't checked out our game, maybe you should, but they're still saving something for their most loyal, dedicated fan base who adores their game for their own convention. I think that's a good idea.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So I know that's kind of short, but if you do play Warframe, July 6th, TennoCon, and they're going to release the details of that new expansion. Final bit of news.
Small one.
Yeah, no, it's barely anything really. So
Teeny.
yeah, it's little, real little. But yeah, if you are interested in Black Desert Online, they announced at what they called the Heidel Ball their new summer plans. And that includes a new expansion called the Great Expedition. I'm so excited for this.
Are you okay?
Honestly, just to sum it up, what you're about to hear is summed up by the following. The potential for endgame PvE content in an MMO that severely lacks it.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
If I were to say BDO does have its flaws. It really does. I can't say there's not flaws. There are flaws in BDO. And
Shall we go through the list of flaws? There is a list.
There is a list, and I don't know if that would necessarily help us out. No, there are a lot of things that are not ideal about the game. There are some pay-to-win elements of it. Again, you could make the same argument that almost every other MMO makes. They're not pay-to-win. They're pay-to convenience. Outside of the costume, which does give stats, but once you have a costume, which you can buy with in-game silver if people sell it, which a lot of people do, but anyway, we'll get to that. There's not really anything in the game that gives you direct power, and as we discussed earlier, really all the stuff you can buy in the store really just makes it so that when you're doing your enhancing, it makes it easier to get back to where you were.
Yep, everything in the store makes your life easier or prettier.
Yeah.
Sums it up.
Yeah, really does, which is not very yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the run of the mill there for almost every modern MMO out there. But stop being an apologist for this. Even from our guild perspective, the one thing that we have noted is it really does, outside of like the node war itself, does feel very solo. Yeah.
Like I've said to you, you can play the entire game solo.
You
no
can.
issues. Progress to the highest levels of gear solo.
You can. Absolutely you can. And it's not fun at that point. There's not a lot of PvE type related stuff. I know world bosses are there and things like that. Those are also fun, but there is a lack of PvE end game to play. But they are actively changing that, which we had already talked about, that a lot of times PvP is definitely necessary in this game, and I wouldn't want them to get rid of it. It really is the driving force for a lot of the cool stuff within the game. But if you're not a PvPer, there's not a lot for you to do. I mean, well, if you're a life skiller, this is heaven right here. You make bank.
Crafting and life skilling is huge in this game.
It's really big. It's really big. But anyway, so start off on this. They have announced a new class. Now, the thing that's most interesting about this new class that's coming, and this actually, you can even start it earlier. I think it's the 19th. You can actually preload it and actually start leveling up your shy. I don't know what the name of the class is going to be, but it's a shy. Shy in the game are halflings. So there's a female halfling that you can play, and it's a support role.
The first true support role in the game.
They've even said that this thing, it's almost an experiment for them because they've never done a non-combat focused class. This class is almost exclusively a support class, healing, buffs, stuff like that.
It needs some damage to level and do its thing, but yeah, it's a support class.
It can, but they said it won't do much. It definitely won't do much. They're definitely aiming this towards the support. So I think this class is going to be very important in node and territory wars and the upcoming PvE.
Ultra Blood.
Yeah.
So why do you think they're expanding into this non-combat or support role?
Because Western players love endgame PvE content.
They do.
Kind of need support to do it.
You'll notice that most of the Korean MMOs that have come out are all PvP focused. All of them PvP focused.
Grind heavy, really depth. Really depth. A lot of depth to their mechanics and their systems. And PvP focused.
And that's what's big over there. It's not real big over here. PvE games are actually much larger over here than over in Korea. The thing is, I actually believe Black Desert does better over here than it does in it. I mean, it's still going in Korea, but it's not up to the levels of, Lineage 1, which is still like almost 30 years old and still the biggest game out there. It's not hitting those levels of support over there. So Pearl Abyss knows that its main audience is in the West. And a PvP-centered game doesn't have the critical appeal that they're looking for. So they're trying to expand out. And even in the PvP side, having support classes is a good thing and can really turn the tide of battle. Go ahead.
It changes the dynamics of an engagement, right? Now you have to prioritize where are the supports in the group. And your group has to prioritize protecting your supports. It adds a different dynamic to the combat, as opposed to just frag all day long.
Right. So that new class is coming, so if you're interested in checking that out. They also hinted at another class coming out, which will be a male fighter type class that will be loosely based off of the Middle Eastern style that you can see in the game in like the Medea and Valencia regions.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. They actually showed it off like there was a scimitar sitting in the sand, and they're like, "Yeah, by the way, I know we've had this for a while, but that's actually your next class hint of what's coming next." So there you go. Enjoy. So there's a lot of talk about what that could possibly be. It probably won't come this year, but still pretty cool. One thing to note, if you are playing, they do have like a, and I'll try to make this quick. They do have a limit on. There's a cash shop item that allows you to switch like your experience and your gear, because gear and experience take a very long time in this game. This is not a casual game.
Nope.
Crow, how long did it take you to get 62?
I'm at 61. I'm only 12% into 61, and it was a grind. A lot of hours.
Yeah, a lot of hours. If you really want to spend the money, you can literally transfer all that experience over to a new character. It's not cheap.
But it's not it's not cheap. It's not super expensive, but it's not cheap.
And you don't, and that other character essentially becomes a level 1 again. So
I think you're basically buying a AAA title for the cost of trading your experience from one character to another.
If you're doing your experience, and if you're a life skiller as well,
so it's like a house on ESL.
It's like $200, I think, in order to transfer all of your life skills, which are your crafting, your experience, and then to convert your gear, like your weapons.
Your three main weapons, your regular weapon, your awakening weapon, your sub weapon. Those 3 weapons, I think, are like $40 a shot to switch to the new class.
Yep. But
so it's for the people who just have the money and don't want to bother leveling up all over again.
Here's the thing, though. I play a warrior, and if they ever came out with a class that I liked more, the amount of hours I've put into the warrior, I would totally pay that just to switch it over if I was committed to switching to a new class, because I wouldn't want to put the amount of hours I put into my warrior into another character.
No, I find the value in it.
Yeah. It's not something you do for everything, and it's not like buying a max level character like you can in World of Warcraft. It's literally just taking all the work you put into one class and shifting it over to another.
And it's expensive enough where not everyone is going to do it when the flavor of the month nerfs and buffs come in, and people are all like, oh, this class is now one of the better classes, and all of a sudden a horde of people switch over.
Yeah, no, it's
expensive enough to prohibit that.
Yeah, this is literally for people who are like, I'm really tired of this class, but I don't want to essentially shelve the 1,500 hours I put into this character.
And it does not shift over the inventory slots you may have.
Yeah.
The extra carrying weight you may have. Yeah. The on and on and on. There's a bunch of things that don't shift with you. So.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's expensive to shift to a new main if that's what you're really doing.
So don't.
So don't. Pick the class you really like.
Don't do it.
Stick with it forever. Or restart. Forever. Or Introduction of wind and current mechanics to the ocean. BDO's ocean combat is mediocre at best. Hold on, let's take that back. For an MMORPG, it's on par.
It's just fine.
Yeah.
It's nothing to write home about. It's not terrible. It's fine.
Yeah. But it's standard, hey, I'm sailing this direction. I hold W, and I'm going to go this direction. They're now adding both wind and current mechanics. If you know how to use the wind and the current, you can go places way faster than just holding down W.
That'll be to me, that's interesting.
And like we were saying in the pre-show, when it comes to doing sea monster battles, which is a really good way of building income in this game, that adds a level of complication with steering and maneuvering, because you have to either fight against or with the wind and fight against or with the current while trying to shoot at this thing with cannons.
Now, are the cannons bi-sided, or can they go out just in gun ports or above the ship, below the ship?
They're on the side, so you have to bank.
So you have to do that. Now, can you choose to put them anywhere else?
No, they're stationary based on the boat that you get.
So you got to do broadside.
Yeah, broadsiding.
That's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Do you have crews to do your guns, or do you guild do the guns?
You can actually hire NPC crews, but they don't. Let me put it this way. They're actually changing some of that. But yeah, you actually get your guild mates to do guns.
Interesting.
Yeah, the sea monster thing is definitely a guild activity. There's guilds dedicated to it because it is so lucrative.
That would be interesting.
There's more than one way of attacking, too. You have the guns, which do the best, the cannons. You can actually ram the ship if you actually have the prow of the ship, the bow.
Yeah, the driver can do that.
Yeah, you can ram you can actually have like the ramming spike on the front of your ship in order to do that as well.
See, that to me, that's really interesting.
Oh, it's very good. Like we talked about it a little bit in our pre-show, a bit about. While most of us haven't played ArcAge to extent, I've played a little bit of it. Their boat systems was probably one of the best
for an MMO.
Mm-hmm. But the real game that sets sailing up is Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves doesn't have a very strong current mechanic, though.
No,
like
don't.
Amazing waves and amazing wind, but they don't have a strong current mechanic in that game.
Right.
They don't have that piece of it. Right.
I don't think they do.
What you want is you want to have your current effect under the water as well as the waves on top.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing they introduced in Atlas, right, was at first it was just under the waves, right? You'd go set a direction and you go. 2 releases ago, you start getting into effects on the boat from the waves. So if you're not paying attention, you can slowly drift, right? So you want to have those current mechanics built into it. That'll make it interesting because then you have to pay attention, not just point and watch Netflix while you're sailing through stuff.
Yeah.
You mean watch The Office on Netflix?
Well, watch The Office or whatever. Parks and Recreation I like, but that's okay.
Fair enough. That's
Nick Offerman is awesome, but then we'll go.
Yeah. Tammy 1, Tammy 2. If you haven't watched that, anyway. I'm really curious because as of right now, the waves really mean nothing. In BDO, like at times, it looks like the waves are splashing over your ship, but they don't mean anything. The ocean's literally just a flat thing for your ship to go on. Now, they are redoing the underwater content as well. You could actually get like one of those old time scuba suits to go under and harvest materials.
There you go.
I am so excited, and I just want to. I'm curious. Like, they're redoing a bunch of boats. We'll finally get a galleon that's a galleon. A real galleon, not what looks like a Greek boat that they call galleons. It's actually a beautiful galleon, and I can't wait to be a pirate. It's going to be amazing. Yeah, we actually have a video on this channel as well that the guild had a fun drinking and fishing night, and it's only about 30 minutes because eventually I had to cut it. I'm like, nope. They'll shut my channel down for this.
Until 3 in the morning. I'm glad I passed on that. I joined you for a bit, and then you guys went to the boat. And I'm like, no, I'm going to bed.
That was
3 in the morning.
Probably. We sailed all the way across the ocean to Port Rat, which is the Weeb land. It actually is. It's where the Tamer and it's Far Eastern, Japanese, Chinese inspired. But we made it all the way across the ocean. It took forever. Oh, it was a lot of fun. But yeah, it was like 3 a.m. Then by the end of that, we were all pretty much going to die. Yeah, it was nuts. But wind and current mechanics, how in depth are they going to go with this? I mean, it may not be anything too special, but I would really love to see the sea content be pushed up.
I wonder what they're using to do that.
Yeah, that would be... They haven't really released a whole lot other than the fact that they're adding these different things in there. The one thing that I know ArcAge did better is waves actually seem to at least make your ship visually go up and down, if for no other reason. I would love to see them make water feel like it has more mass to it than what it does.
Yeah, no, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
There's actually one lady in the other thing I play with Atlas, right? She actually can't watch the screen when we're sailing. She gets seasick. Right?
Really?
She's in the boat and it's rocking and rolling with the waves and everything. She's like, just let me know when you make it to ground and then I'll come back and play. But no, so that type of thing makes it real, right? When you get that introduced to it. And I used to own a sailboat for a while. So being able to, obviously not this big, but being able to have that same feeling when you're done playing a little bit at the waves that you do at the end of a day sailing, you feel like your legs are going up and down. That is really immersive to it. Let's see if they can go that far.
And here I thought Bob Doley was talking about BDO.
No.
Sports balls. Wow.
Game 6, Raptors right now. Jeez.
You're dying inside.
What's going on? Who's winning?
Raptors are up by like 4 or 5.
What's quarter?
Third quarter, 8 minutes left, tons of time.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, a ton of time left.
I feel like you guys forget what show we're on.
It's a sports ball podcast. Crow's sports ball.
Crow's ball.
The only sport I ever want to hear on this show is blitzball from Final Fantasy X, and that's
Such
what
a
about
dork. God. I was hoping you were going to say something like log tossing, something cool.
well.
Like Viking
I mean,
sports.
Guild Wars 2 had keg toss, which essentially was football, but with a giant keg of mead. So,
Well, we could have dwarf tossing.
It's okay to be a hybrid. It's
Or,
okay
you
to
know,
like
Black Desert, you have halfling toss.
halfling tosses. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, I'm putting a moratorium on this sports ball talk. Moving on. New islands and ships, new islands and special trade routes, and one of the first things they're doing, a new PvE-based 3-man Horde mode. Yes. BDO is getting Horde mode before Ashes of Creation, the Altar of Blood.
Mm-hmm.
This is pretty neat, and this is actually one of their first forays. I shouldn't say one of their first. They have had instance content in the past, but they've essentially taken their Savage Rift concept.
Mm-hmm.
Their Savage Rift was a Horde mode that you had to use the hunting rifle or a hunting matchlock and the Trina axes and stuff like that. The more not your main class's abilities in order to do this event. They took that and said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do it again, but we're going to let you use all your own class skills.
Yep.
You have to defend a relic inside from hordes of monsters and mini boss fights and stuff like that. And the further in you go, the better the rewards. And I'm talking some sick rewards, like pen boss gear rewards.
Which is nuts.
Now, remember how I said earlier that you really want to go back and do quests and stuff to get energy? It takes 100 energy to enter. Whoever is the guild leader, it costs 100 energy to enter and then 20 to start it. So it's 120 per attempt.
For those that don't understand, energy, if you're logged into the game, regenerates normally at, what is it?
1 per 3 minutes, I think it is.
1 per 3 minutes?
Yeah. If you're logged in, it's 1 per 3 minutes.
If you're logged out, it's 1 per hour.
I've finished about 1,900 quests in the game.
What?
Yeah. And I've ran around in pretty much every town I've been in. I've talked to everyone to get knowledge on it. And I have 257 energy.
I have 120 because quests are dumb.
Some people have way more, but
400.
by doing quests and gaining knowledge of areas is how you actually gain energy in the game. If you only grind, Crowjack, you see the issue there. He would be able to get in one time. Well, let's see. 3 minutes if he stayed logged in. Let's see. To get 120. So to get 120, divide that by 3.
Not assuming I'm not using the commies, Slav, blah blah blah.
Yeah. Yeah, because you need 120 energy times 3. Yeah, so 360 minutes.
360 minutes.
Yeah, 360 minutes in order to get another attempt.
6 hours logged in.
Yeah.
Normally. Yep.
Yeah. So it encourages you to go out there, but it also, based on how good the rewards are, that's a limiting factor to prevent people from just spamming it over and over and over again.
Yep.
Because if you can get pen boss gear out of this thing.
Yeah, but how common is pen boss gear? I mean, pen boss gear is prohibitively expensive in the game. We're talking like 10, 15 billion silver, which is just more. One piece of pen is more worth than all my stuff combined right now.
Yeah, but I think you get essentially a bag at the end of every boss.
With the potential, and you roll the dice, and it's going to be a 0.005% chance.
Right, but there's 5 bosses in
so
this.
You're saying there's a chance.
I mean, it's almost as good a chance as actually trying to get a tet to pen without having to spend the money to do it.
Yep.
So, yeah, no, that's going to be pretty neat. They're also adding a new PvE zone called the Ash Forest, which they pretty much said even if you're wearing all pen gear, you're probably not going to be able to do it solo. It's meant to be an open world group PvE zone.
Yeah, it's meant for 3 guys of near endgame gear.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. Really, really excited. Of course, they're also doing some balance passes and upgrades to UI and life skills. One negative of this is that the territory war content and the Odelitia region are being postponed. I've not heard of territory war before, but apparently it's a much bigger version of both Node Wars and Conquest.
Oh.
So it's a bigger PvP option.
Yep.
But they're postponing that while they work on some other stuff. So, and the Odelia, I think is that the home of the dwarves? The dwarven homeland? It's a big continent. I'm trying to remember. I've heard that name before. I just can't remember where it's at. So, unfortunately, that is being delayed.
Yeah.
But still, all this stuff coming this summer. I'm so excited.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. All right. Okay, that's going to be the end of the show tonight, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a little longer than normal. We decided to let it go because we did have a lot of news. Well, in the post show, we'll take a few minutes to kind of go over a few other little things within E3, so be sure to check that out if you're watching live on twitch.tv/Dungeon Crawler Network, or if you're one of our supporters. Thank you so much. Again, I want to thank my amazing co-host. We got Stormslord, Digital Piper Studios. Check out all his stuff. Alpha Soul at _alpha_soul on YouTube, doing a lot of Ashes of Creation content, more than we are at this point. Dun-dun-dun. And of course, Crowjack. Check out his YouTube channels, and he is once again streaming on Twitch. So now I have stuff to do while I'm bored at work. There you go.
I'll show you how to grind properly, you stupid warrior.
Yeah, well, why don't you get a warrior and then we'll see how
No.
it goes. No, I want to grind effectively.
Why would I nerf myself on purpose?
See, this is why I don't play any of the other classes. I don't want to know that it can be done faster, or else I will hate my warrior. I'm just going to play my warrior and be happy in my ignorance.
Tunnel vision.
Yeah. Anyway, you can follow everything we do over at DungeonCrawlerNetwork.com. There you find links to all of our social media, including Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Be sure to check out our Patreon program, patreon.com/DungeonCrawlerNetwork. If you want to help support the show, you can also do that by leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes so people know that we are a real podcast. We say real words. Sometimes it matters. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Dungeon Crawlers Podcast. We'll see you next time. See you later, everybody.